Well, there's absolutely no question about it. It's a huge win for Barcelona. Just how devastating is it for Real Madrid and for Rafa Benitez specifically, Aitor?
Yeah, I think it's trouble because, you know, I said that before the game, Real Madrid is always under pressure after the game today and after the game against Sevilla, the last fixture. I think it was the real level now of Real Madrid because till that game, sometimes the numbers were hiding the real performances of the team, and the last two games showed that they are not as good as Barcelona, and Real Madrid, the level is not the level that everybody is expecting.
Coming into this game, Luis Enrique and Andres Iniesta both said that yes, it's an important game, but it's not season-defining. Do you agree with that now, looking at that result, Thierry?
Oh, I agree, and they all know that. I mean, the perception of the La Liga sometime in other countries is like it's only Barcelona and Madrid, and I can assure you that it is not. Barcelona lost and well against Vigo away from home, and they lost also against Sevilla, so they know going away from home, and sometimes at home games are difficult. It is not in a way a title decider, but it will play a lot on the mind of Madrid and will give Barcelona great momentum that they already had. But I want to go back to one thing. We were talking about a tactic, but this type of game is not about a tactic. At one point, you need to bring the desire and the right commitment on the field and the right intensity to play at that level.
Was that completely lacking?
It wasn't even, I can't even mention it, it wasn't there at all. You can't play a Clásico like that. You can't go on the field without, and people are going to talk about Benitez and the tactic and this and that. Yes, the tactic comes along when both teams' desire is there, commitment is there, and the game is tight. Then the boss will have to trigger one or two or three things to make sure that who's going to be the best boss or whatever. But if your team goes out there without the right desire and the right commitment, it becomes really difficult for the coach. And I'm not trying to find any excuses for Benitez, but first and foremost, when you play a game like that, you need to bring your desire on the field.
There has, though, been some talk that perhaps not all the players are on board with Rafa Benitez's philosophy. Is that perhaps what we were seeing out there then?
Yeah, I think they showed today that they weren't convinced in the way that they've played, because again, you have, as you say, you can have your tactics, you can have your things spoken before the game, but the attitude was really poor today. And again, this kind of games, you have to play always 150%, because if you don't play in that way, the other team is going to play, and the result is the way that they played. And the main thing for me was, for example, the last yellow card for Barcelona. They were winning 4-0, and they didn't want to concede a single goal. So they were trying to win the games in the first second, and the attitude was the right.
And we saw that with the goals as well, that lack of desire really coming through in those goals. Let's take a look at those. Neymar, the one to give Barcelona the lead in this one, Thierry.
I think too much space. They're there, but they're very passive. You can see there that they're compact in a way. Distances are right, but they're not doing anything with it. Passive, they're letting people go through. Great run from Suarez, great ball from Roberto, and what a finish. We talked about it before, but you can't let Barcelona play like that and have time on the ball. They will kill you, and they did it.
It was exactly the same. Sorry, that was Luis Suarez goal, of course, the 1-0. Neymar then doubling that lead, and the same story again, Aitor.
Yes, and I think it's easy to see that when a Barcelona player had the ball, always he had another 2 or 3 players moving, and when the Real Madrid players had the ball, nobody was moving. So this is the difference, because when you are moving, especially up front, you are creating spaces, and Real Madrid, all of them are stopped.
But there is something that I wanted to mention here is, look at how the back line is backing up the pressure from Suarez. So Suarez has the order, I guess, to make sure that he puts pressure on Modric right here and force him inside. But because those guys are offside and walking, Modric is trying to force something, and then you cannot leave Andres Iniesta with that amount of time on the ball, because he's going to pick a pass and Neymar is going to score. But we're going to the same thing. You saw a team today on one side, and you just see on the other side a group of players that are playing for themselves and not being a team at the moment.
Did you feel for Modric and Kroos in this game, though?
I think they were. It was the worst thing for both of them, because they were running. They are players who like to have the ball and didn't touch the ball today. So I think they are so disappointed today with the game.
We talked about, did they need Lionel Messi to beat Real Madrid? Before he even came on, they were 3-0 up. It was Andres Iniesta with an absolute rocket that gave them that third goal. Just how good was it, Thierry?
It's just, but look at the space. Look at the space in between the lines. You know, you have Roberto on the ball here, no real pressure on him. And you can already see on the other side, Rakitic is getting the ball. Iniesta was alone. Movement from Neymar, back heel. And I think it would have been even more difficult if they had no one on the field. Maybe it wouldn't have been that easy. It's just, it's too much, really. At one point I was looking at it and I'm like, I think they need to stop the game. It's just, it's too much. I mean, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. And if you love football, you're going to enjoy that. But there's one thing that I want to mention about Barcelona. And people always talk about when they have the ball and how they pass the ball well. But they put pressure. He's always backing up the midfielders and the striker to put pressure. The distances are right in between the players. They never give up. They help each other. They're always at 7, 8 men behind the ball. 1-0 up, 2-0 up, 3-0 up, 4-0 up. As Ayrton mentioned, you even saw Busquets 91st minute making a foul. It could have been 4-1. No 4-1, 4-0. The discipline, intensity is key for that team. And when you see the likes of Suarez working hard and the likes of Neymar working hard, Andres Iniesta working hard, it speaks volume to the other guys. They want to help them even to be better. You just saw a team out there. And we don't emphasize enough on how Barcelona is good in that type of situations.
You mentioned 4-0. Let's take a look at that goal. It was Luis Suarez getting his second goal in this El Clasico match. Was it refreshing for you to watch an El Clasico that wasn't defined by Messi and Ronaldo?
Sorry?
Was it enjoyable to watch an El Clasico that wasn't defined and decided by Messi and Ronaldo, which we so typically see?
Yes, but I think Barcelona is showing before the game today that they are winning the games without Messi, because as we were speaking, all of them are playing as a team. Sometimes we forget that the first players who mark the press, who defend, the strikers are, and this is the best example today. Neymar, the players up front from Barcelona, they were the first to do the pressure, so they helped the defenders to go forward, and the Real Madrid forward didn't do the pressure, so the Real Madrid defenders had to drop, so they had a lot of space in the middle without the intensity. It was the difference.
Listen, you lose Mascherano at the beginning of the game. Mathieu comes on. Sergio Roberto started in front of Messi, if I can say. Sometimes Munir plays, sometimes it's Vermaelen, sometimes it can be and the same thing. And they will lose game, don't get me wrong, but they will still have the same intensity or try to play the same way. Whoever plays in that team, because they have a plan and they already know what's going to happen. And whoever comes within that plan, or whoever starts, will play the same way. And at one point, I wish we could have got that, but beginning of the second half, Luis Enrique is shouting, "Vamos a presionar. Let's go and put pressure." 2-0 up. That's the mentality there. That's the mentality wherever they play against whoever.
Just a question, of course, because this does beg a big question on Rafa Benitez. What happens to him now? I mean, we've always been saying how much pressure he's under, but can we see him actually going mid-season?
I don't know, because again, it's difficult, but the message today from the players, I think, is important, because their faces, their body language, they never were ready to go for the game. So I didn't like the body language and the message from the players today. I don't like.
Ronaldo, Bale, did they let him down today?
No, you know what? It was a collective thing. I just think at the end of the very day, he's gonna maybe take the blame of it, the boss. But I just think that ultimately they failed the fans as a team today, not one or two. They didn't play well.
All right, well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both with us. Aitor Karanka, Thierry Henry, thank you very much for your company. If you haven't had your fill of Spanish football, there is more live action from Spain for you throughout the evening. Espanyol and Malaga, both in need of form and points. They're up next on this channel for you. The same, of course, is true of Las Palmas. They're going to have their work cut out for them, though, against Valencia. That's also on this channel, but it's under the red button. That one's from 9 o'clock. this evening. 5 minutes later, you can also tune into Deportivo against high-flying Celta Vigo. That one is available online via the website or the Sky Sports app. So the question is, what now for Rafa? Real Madrid simply brushed aside in the Bernabeu. The first Clásico of the season goes to Barcelona. Thanks very much for joining us, and good night.
I'm a flame, you're the fire, I'm the dark in need of light. When we touch, you inspire, feel the change in me tonight. We can dance in desire, or we can burn in love tonight. Our hearts alive, firestorm. When they strike, feel the love. Sparks will fly, they ignite our bones. When they strike, we light up the world.
Enjoy Sky Sports Live on all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.